have a solution. The Whine No Whine Show, where you can be friended and offended all in the same hour, where we gather people from all different walks of life and perspectives, and we talk about everything that everyone has told you not to. Religion, politics, and everything under the sun. Nothing is off limits, and we do it all over a glass of wine. So grab a glass and join us as we save America, one civil conversation at a time.
3, 2, 1, action!
Hello everybody, welcome to the Whine No Whine Show Artist Edition. I am your host, Chris Minnemeyer of And Art. I have a great guest panel, group of guests here today. Today we're going to be talking about, is the president undermining the First Amendment by calling some news sources fake news and enemies of the state. So be sure that you guys comment, let us know your opinions, because we're going to put those comments live on the air, and hopefully they're going to change the course of our discussion. Real quick, I'm going to go through our guests here and let them introduce themselves, and that way we kind of know who they are, and then we're going to go through and let them kind of say their stance on the topic. During that time, be sure to like the page, send us a message, and get the reminders we're going live. And remember that the Whine No Whine Show Artist Edition is going to be called The Art of Dispute next month, and it's going to be on Saturdays. But I'm going to go to
Pretty cool.
Anders? Andres. I did that wrong the second time. Sorry. Andres.
You're terrible.
I'm terrible.
Tell
us who you are, what you do, and how we can find you.
Cool. My name is Andres Del Rio. I'm a photographer in the Houston area, out of the Woodlands. You can find me at the comment. It's a little bit of a mouthful to say, so it's in the comment of this video, just there.
Just below your feed.
That's where you can find me. I take pictures of pretty things.
Wonderful. Sorry, that tickled. Go ahead. Alex, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Alex Gillespie. So here I'm promoting my band as myself, Billion City, and I actually just got a first show booked at Natsuo on April 30th. So pretty stoked about that. Hoping everyone might come check it out. And you can find me on Instagram at billion_city_project. And I got a post for the show in the comments as well.
Awesome. Thanks for coming out, Alex. Alicia, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Alicia Jean. I've been on here for music before because I'm co-owner of Mad Owl Entertainment. We do music and art shows in the Katy area.
Go check out their last live feed.
Yeah, big house shows, and then another show for musicians on Sunday night via live stream. But today I'm here as an artist because I also do art, and you can find my art. I just made an art Instagram, so you wouldn't have to look through my selfies and tomfoolery on my own page anymore. It's Alicia Jean Art on Instagram.
Awesome. Thanks for coming out.
Edward. I'm Edward Sampson. I'm in a band called Itsy Bitsy. I don't know if it's really a band. It's just me at the moment. It's a band of one. And I make all kinds of music, usually kind of poppy. If you want to find me, you can find me at facebook.com/itsybitsyofficial. That's Itsy Bitsy like the spider. So facebook.com/itsybitsyofficial. It's a mouthful to say.
5 times fast, go.
Not a lot of current stuff on there at the moment, but I have current stuff that I've worked up that will be posted there soon. So if you want all the latest stuff, that's the place to be that's where it'll happen.
We can also get you at the open mic on Tuesdays, huh?
Oh yeah, you can find me at Avant Garden. I went there for the first time last week on Tuesday, and it was a pretty cool scene. Even if you're not playing, yeah.
That's where I saw you.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I met you the other day. I'm glad we could have you on. Again, guys, you guys know me. I'm Chris Minnemeyer with And Art, Texas Music and Art, the Whine No Whine Show. We're going to go ahead and start our discussion after we let each of our guests tell you their stance on it. Again, our discussion topic is the president undermining the First Amendment by calling some media fake news and enemies of the state. So I want to hear your stuff, your opinions, your comments. I also want to shout out our sponsor of the week, Nicole Thalgy. That is Nicole Thalgy at EXP Realty. Thank you for sponsoring the show, and we really appreciate all the support. We'll start on this side with you. Edward, what do you feel the president is doing? Is he undermining the First Amendment?
Yeah, I think he is. I think it's kind of an unprecedented thing to have the president himself comment on the press of his own administration. I think there's plenty of media outlets out there, and they don't all share the same viewpoint. They aren't all getting from the same sources, and they can fact check each other well enough. But you don't need the president criticizing the media often baselessly. I don't think he's very committed to truth. I think in his presidential debates, he was shown by factcheck.org to be like one of the most dishonest people during those debates. So he himself can't be trusted to perpetuate the truth. So how can, when he's not doing any investigative research, how can we trust him to criticize the press? And I think he's just trying to spread distrust and therefore undermine the people that are his critics.
Okay. Good points. Good points. Alicia, would you let us know your stance on it?
I think that the president is not undermining the First Amendment. I think he is exercising the First Amendment by calling out people he thinks are spreading lies and creating dissension. I think it's wrong of us to assume that he hasn't done any research. I think it's very popular to get on the hate Trump bandwagon. So I don't think he's undermining the First Amendment. He may be undermining some of the people in the news, but unless we do our own research, we don't know if it is actually fake news or not. So I think he's actually exercising the First Amendment.
All right, great. Another good point to be made. Alex, how you feel about this?
Well, I can't say that he's undermining it, but I think he is abusing it to a point. I always go back to the saying of if you yell fire in a theater, and everyone tramples out of there and kills people. That
was that First Amendment stuff.
Well,
right, fire.
Well, again, it's saying something with the intent of distraction on one point, but I think it's also dangerous in its own regard, because again, he is the president, and his word has much more power than you or me saying, oh well, Fox News is just spouting out BS versus CNN is spouting out BS, and really both of them could be spouting out BS, and a lot of times they are spouting out BS. And but just to cast like a napalm death spray all across all media except for Sean Hannity, I think that's I don't agree with that.
Okay, good point.
So the basic question is the First Amendment being undermined? Yeah, it should be pretty obvious. I stand very closely with Mr. Sampson's points on this one. There should, whether or not it's happening, there's also the question of whether he should be able to say these things, to say these to like you said, cast and throw the napalm over everything when he has such an important role in office. So like he has such a heavy word that when he says something like that, when he says something that could be detrimental to a reporter's career, if fake news, like throwing something like that out there, not only is it undermining his ability to his as a reporter ability to disseminate the news, therefore undermining the First Amendment, it also could cause harm to that person's career. One word out of the president's mouth is worth 10 out of the layman's person. That's probably not true, but that's
got a little movement behind it.
Exactly. The weight, it's a much heavier word than anyone else's. So the answer to the question is yes, and in addition, there should be more.
I kind of feel you over here wanting to say something.
I was just thinking, yes, it should be respected. It should carry more weight with the American people. I'm not sure if that's true of Trump, considering the media and things like that. But I think who better to give an example of if someone is saying something untrue about you or about situations that you know about, then you have the responsibility to say something. And I would like to see, instead of fake news, I would like him to say actually and present research, because I feel like that would help the American people respect
That'd be the day.
him more. But I don't think that he's undermining, like someone said, I can't remember which one said, people's jobs are on the line. I would submit that people's jobs should be on the line if they're spreading falsification, because they're just as guilty of setting fires in America and spreading propaganda as the president if they are in fact reporting fake news. And if maybe they would take their jobs more seriously if they knew they could lose them for spreading false things.
I agree with that last statement you said right there, that they should feel threatened that they could lose their jobs for spreading false news, but that should come at the people coming together and saying, no, you're spreading fake news. It should not be the president, because that's how it's a slippery slope, because especially in the context of him and all of the allegations against his administration as a whole, he's got so much stacked against him to say, it's like, how are you the pot calling the kettle black in a way? And saying all this is fake news, lies about whatever. It's just,
I thought just to rebuttal kind of a little bit of everything, the president used to come out and address this kind of fake news stuff, with a microphone and a bunch of reporters in front of him, and it wasn't a tweet or whatever it may be. Now, are we expecting too much of his tweets? Can he not express an opinion?
He shouldn't be tweeting. Maybe. I mean, that's part.
I don't know. I think the idea, and President Obama started the whole thing with social media. President Obama started he started addressing people on, there wasn't Facebook Live, but he started putting those things out there that was much more accessible to the layperson, especially the earlier generation. So I think there's a lot to be said about using social media as a president. But again, like, your tweets are 10 times, 100 times worth the tweets of, like, Monica from down the street. Like, there should be something in place, like, hey man, maybe you shouldn't say that. Maybe that thing that you said, it shouldn't have been said.
You should hire someone to.
And Trump supporters should be the ones who should support that more than anything else, because I feel like that's where he gets himself into trouble more often than not.
Into the most trouble.
It's just this weird perfect storm where we have this president in a time where a president has never been more accessible. A president can tweet at 3 a.m. in the morning and
millions.
The misspelling
world
makes headlines.
Yeah, and then makes the 24-hour news cycle, and it's crazy.
What would you guys say if the president said that to, like, BuzzFeed, or he said it to somebody on that's doing tabloid type of stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would you still consider it being the wrong thing to say?
Something that was very obviously fake news, or like,
maybe in his eyes it is. You see where I'm kind of getting at there?
Sure.
Where he's going, hey, look, this is ridiculous. You guys need to know that.
Okay, let's leave that one alone.
Can I just interject? I feel like the conversation is being directed that what President Trump is trying to accomplish by criticizing the media is he just wants he feels it's a civic duty to get the truth out, and everyone's lying. But it's not like he's saying things that then they're being fact-checked and people are getting fired for fake news. What's really happening is he just knows that the American public does not follow these news cycles down to the very end of it. He just knows that they hear him call it fake news, they take it as gospel. He doesn't go any further than that. That real facts never come out. It's just him trying to quash any press story he doesn't like. It's not him trying to get to the truth and get bad journalists fired. That it never gets to that point, because if you ever fact check what he says, it's just usually baseless.
You had something?
Yeah.
I have a lot. I just, one, about the Twitter and things like that. I was in before I did music and art, again, I taught for 16 years and I did administration in a school, and we're always as administrators looking to get to students any way we can, and so we're trying to incorporate technology. And President Trump, I mean, he's not even as young as my age. I'm in my 40s. I feel like he's very passionate about communicating to the American people, and so he's going to use Twitter and he's going to use every outlet he can. I, for the first time in my 43 years, got something in the mail from the Trump administration the other day, about a week ago, and it literally asked me how I felt about every single thing that he promised in his campaign. Asked me to rate it and asked me to provide feedback. That's never happened in the history of, and like I said, I'm in my 40s. I do think that he's very passionate and he cares, and I do think he's passionate about the fact that when someone spreads something that he thinks is false, he feels like it's making people get distracted while he's trying to address the things on his agenda. And I think that it upsets him as an American that people's minds are pulled this way and that way rather than focusing on actual problems in our society. And I get labeled a Trump supporter when I speak, but I'm not. What I am is I'm a presidential supporter. I supported Obama. I have voted for him. I think that whoever the American people elect into office, we should treat with a certain amount of respect. And so
but that respect should be a little bit more earned, and I think it's also to the point of, again, back to the pot calling the kettle black, and how can we expect to give him that chance when it's constantly shown time after time after time that what he says is a lie from the beginning.
Is it?
I mean, yeah.
Do you have a source for us?
There's been, I don't have a source right now. You can look up, there's data that's I've seen.
Where do you think our viewers should go check it out?
Easy one.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
At the mall, when he gives his initial presidential speech, he said, "Biggest speech ever, biggest audience for in the whatever that place is called, the large grassy field that in front of the White House or wherever you give that speech."
Right.
Yeah. He said biggest attendance.
I know
that's
exactly
minor. Honestly, that's minor in comparison.
But that's just how he's willing to lie about the minor details. And then he also lies about, says voter fraud. There's millions of voter fraud.
Right. But he won.
And that actually, a report just came out that nothing's been proven.
It's not a real issue. It's
a non-issue.
It doesn't matter to him if something's true or not. I mean, it'd be so easy to fact check that. He could just
just not say it and then wait till later and then say it.
But that's the problem part. It's the media, is that we latch on to things so quickly and so fast, and we're on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next thing, that all we get is the headline. And he knows that, and he plays to that fact that that's how our generation thinks.
But I would have to argue the point is, if he spent as much time researching and providing his proof behind his
if he did that, he would be a different person, and I would totally take him seriously.
I mean, what I'm saying is, if he did that, he would have to hire a couple people.
He has a whole government.
Well, I understand that, but now you're hiring people to spend taxpayer dollars to resource the news, which is supposed to be resourced in itself. Like, you see, like, this is American dollars you're wanting to spend, and I mean, what do you guys think about that? And this is, you're asking him to spend more money,
but
he
does spend that money already, and then it shows that it's not fact. I mean, there is money spent all the time on that research.
Or take his attention away from being the president in order to do a lot of research.
Yeah, you'd have to hire somebody. You have to send them something, and then it'd be a whole process. You know how that goes. I mean, it's government.
There's a whole government he's supposed to do. Isn't that like his job? Isn't that he's the press secretary, right?
Oh yeah,
isn't
I guess
that, like,
so. I don't know. I mean, yeah.
Okay, I mean, I honestly don't.
I would think that his job would be to
there's
make
someone
press
already
releases
in place to do that. There's already a team in place to do the fact checking. But to Alex's point earlier, it doesn't get to that point because the words are already out and the American public are already onto the next thing.
Yeah.
the decision's already been made in their mind, whether it's.
And that's come back to his point about the grassy field, and that it doesn't matter if you say what the actual facts are, because people have already decided their opinion on that, one side or the other.
And then a photo comes out that shows Obama's inauguration speech where it's full of people,
but that's
and
the
then
point.
it's just him, and it's like a huge.
But that's the point.
Yeah,
and that's the whole point of the fake news. We're living in an age that things can be doctored and things can be manipulated, and it's going to get more and more and more frustrating. There will be more and more fake news to a point.
Yeah, it's a separate issue, I think, in some ways, because yes, there is fake news because
So
social
can
media.
we actually get the First Amendment up on here?
Unless you guys are commenting, pull that First Amendment and post it for us, We're gonna read one of these comments here in a little while.
I would also think that a lot of times when even we do our research to fact check, like when one of the things I taught, I did science for many years, but I also did reading language arts and taught kids how to do research and stuff. And a lot of the sites that you look on are not even reputable themselves. Like,
you're sourcing a non-sourceable source.
Your fact checkers
to be
need
honest,
fact checked.
news, a lot of times we were told news that was written in such a way and produced in such a way that a 7th or 8th grade reading level could understand it. And so that to me
What's the
says that
American
the majority
average?
of the American people, who knows what the truth is, because I have not researched it, but if it's presented in that way, then also the people who take the time to fact check, who knows if they're aware of what's reputable and what's not reputable. And now, in today's age of fake news, what are the reputable sites?
I've
That's why
gotten
there's
to the
science.
point where it's all fake, and I just can't believe any of it.
I mean,
But I'm gonna read the First Amendment real quick
Yeah.
for our viewers. But it says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment or religion or establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise therefore, or abiding the freedom of speech or the press. This is a tough read. Give me a second.
I believe in you.
All right, I'm going to try it again. Okay, so, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So I'll try it one more time. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abiding to abridging the freedom of speech or the press, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for the redress of grievances.
man, so that sounds like a number of issues, because they're already trying to establish that religion one, but I don't think we should get into that.
I mean, just
Another subject,
just-
another day.
Yeah, exactly.
Just 2 quick things.
Yeah. But
Okay, so abridging the freedom of speech. He's not telling them they can't say anything. He's just calling them out when it's not true.
And there's no laws being
And
made, right?
or of the press. He hasn't, as far as I know, he hasn't told the press they're not allowed to say anything.
they have told him
Is-
that they're
is
not
the
allowed in
press
the White
not a
House,
piece-
that they're not allowed to go report on what he's doing.
He does curate the people that get to go to his press releases to some extent, to the extent that he
course.
can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's not unusual to Trump, though. I think
It's not unusual to any.
It's
It's
not
not
unusual to any,
unusual to any
but it is
president.
unusual to be calling.
I think it might be
multiple-
unusual to him, but I'm not sure.
He
Yeah,
has.
I guess.
He's been trying to do more and more press without reporters.
Yeah.
That's true. That he has been pushing for that.
I think,
I don't
what do
know
you
if it's
guys think
actually
about
happened
the
yet.
fact that this is going to push us to stop relying on, the major news sources? It's going to push the
will.
American people, the
it'll
ones
push-
that want to know.
Let's see what happens
To
after
go-
2020. I mean,
Well,
honestly, I don't know.
'Cause we're in a big change.
But the
here.
problem is we're so complacent. We're such complacent American humans that we don't fact check. I mean, to her credit, who fact checking the fact checkers?
Yeah.
And that we are so complacent in Wikipedia or whatever that we just will take it and don't look into it another place, or don't get other
Look,
opinions.
You're thirsty there, but
Yeah. Well, getting the other side of the opinion, I think, is really important. And I think it is important to have these types of discussions, because you need to hear where everyone's coming from, But that that media is going to be under greater scrutiny, and it should be.
To that point, there. I had something and then I lost it.
No.
You need more
Well, I'll
wine.
say
This is the issues at hand or question, really.
All right, so
Okay.
First Amendment: Congress shall make no law abridging. Sorry, we keep saying abridging. All right, abridging the freedom of speech or the press. It's abridge is shortened without losing the sense. So to censor, for lack of better words, there.
So the question is he undermining?
Is
that?
he censoring the press?
Well, he's not making any law, but he's not Congress. But
That's a good point. He is not Congress, so I mean, is he even affected by the First Amendment?
Yeah, well, I'm not arguing that he's doing something unconstitutional and should be impeached. I just think, he's undermining the press's ability to do their job, which is what the Constitution is trying to protect, which is to be a watchdog for the government. Because one of the first things like a fascist regime will try to do is make the news sources basically propaganda,
Right.
and remove impartial sources.
All
From
the facts
the-
come from the government from now
Yeah.
on. You know.
And that's sort of what he's trying to do in a very weird,
It's in
nonsensical
ignorance is
tweet
strength.
sort of way.
It's a look over here
He's
while I
doing
do
it
this
the
type
American
thing.
way. Is what he's doing it. The American
doing it
way.
his
It's the
own
quick
way. He's
McDonald's fix of the Twitter.
Yeah.
That's Twitter. And I see your guys' point, and I definitely see yours. So when you guys say he's undermining the news, and I just said that I don't believe in any of the news, and a couple of y'all nodded your head, you know. So I mean, we have a problem with the news
yeah,
being
absolutely.
not correct,
And
and
it
then
happened
the
way-
president
way
finally
before
says
Trump.
something about it,
Sure.
and now we're we're butthurt about that, you know, like we didn't.
It's an American.
That feeling was there before the president. There was always a feeling that some networks were liberal and some networks were not, and that they kind of reported
This
opposites.
really puts like an exclamation point on it, and that's something that like this whole conversation also highlights. Remember when Martin Shkreli jacked up the price on that drug?
Yeah.
That a lot of people.
AIDS, right?
For some
Yeah, it was some
life-threatening
drug-
drugs,
right.
it went from like $18 to like $700 billion.
It was-
Doesn't
yeah.
matter. What that did was that shined a light on the fact that holy shit, like we can actually do this. Like that's a thing, and it brought people's attention to it.
Yeah, we
That's
didn't know this
kind
was
of
going
what's
on.
happening here. Like the fact that now we, like to your point, it's been happening for a while. CNN and Fox and whatever, they've been
It's
going
been
at
happening
it for
forever.
time immemorial. But at this point, it's really like making
Same
everyone
story.
look at it, really looking at it.
Two centers of actual
good going.
just two topics out of one story. You know, you get the first person's take on it, you get the next person's take on it, and they're different. You get different takes from
But
from the
people
same
don't
story.
do that, and that's the problem. Is that people don't check out the other side of the fence.
Right.
And maybe that's not the problem, but
well, maybe
it's
that's-
that.
You know, maybe that's what he's trying to get some people to do.
I know.
Right.
That's
I think that might be the product. I think that might be what is going to happen one way or
Right.
another. People are going to be now paying more attention, and maybe as a result, there will be stronger laws for maybe what the president is allowed to say, or maybe what what the press is allowed to say.
Right. This is that's going down a slippery slope. Like you were saying.
Yeah, it's a
I kind
slippery
of
slope.
want to bring the question that was on the screen. I
Yeah,
don't want to miss
yeah,
it.
I agree.
He said it's Trump
Censoring-
refused to take questions from CNN during a press conference. Now, is that censoring, or is that him saying you guys aren't reporting it correctly?
That's,
Well,
it's both. He's not doing, but then
it's not censorship though. It's because it should be the job of the reporters to report. So if CNN has a question, Fox News should ask that question too.
But what he's doing is saying, because you didn't do what I like, you're not going to
Well-
get first access to my press conferences. These other news
He's
media
punishing
outlets,
them
they're
for
going to
being
get the first
for
scoop.
being bad.
Yeah, so it's basically he's hurting their bottom line because they didn't speak the truth that he wanted. And well, I'm not under any delusions that like these massive media companies are innocent. They're
Right.
owned by large corporations and they're clearly not impartial. I don't think he's helping. He's hurting it. He's just trying. He's not trying to fix the problem with our press. He's just trying to serve his own purposes. So
I can agree with you in some points on that what it looks like, because I don't fact check and I don't look at. I'm an artist and I have my own bubble. Okay, my bubble is what's happening. I don't care about the world as much.
But you will care if your bubble is being affected.
And you're right. And so I see it like that. So it's hard for me to agree or disagree with that. And my producer put something on the screen just now. It says 3 journalists were fired at CNN after retracting an article. Is Trump wrong after calling CNN out? So, I mean,
if they were fired for actual wrongdoing after
Correct.
Trump called them out.
Was it after or before? Or
but the problem is he's been calling CNN fake news since before his inauguration.
A broken
CNN
clock
could
is
be
right twice a
facing
day.
A lawsuit
Bingo.
if they actually didn't do anything wrong, then CNN probably wouldn't fire them because they would be facing a lawsuit for wrongful termination.
Either that, or CNN can't get into the news conference anymore, and guess whose fault that is?
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna get some new reporters in here that will actually listen to what we're gonna censor, right?
Maybe.
I mean, there's two sides of that coin we can go to.
I think that case might have been like a blind squirrel finding a nut every now and then. Like every now and then, one of the crazy things he says, like 1 out of 1,000, will be like actually correct, and there will be ramifications. But the fact that people don't get fired every day, he tweets every day about the news. But there's one instance of people getting fired. So and at that time, maybe they should have done their due diligence, and I don't defend those people that get fired.
I personally still think it comes back to the people holding our reporters to the accountability and not the president. It's not his job to do that. It's his job to be the president and to do the diplomatic stuff. And I would go so far to say
it's not the people, it's not the reporter the people should be holding accountable. It's the source. It's
the
CNN.
news source, the company.
It's the
for
company
their
that should be
lack of
holding
ability
their
to vet
people
their
accountable.
But that's
people
what a
that
democracy should be,
Right.
and that's why I say we've become complacent. We've become.
Well, we just have so many news sources.
Well, it's not just that though. It's that we don't act. We don't think. We don't bother because we have never had to. We were born. A lot of us were born here and are born into the freedoms that we have, and we take it for granted that we can vote, or we take it for granted that these things are just given to us in a way, or that everything is true that the media is telling us, or whatever.
And I think a lot of people, it's more important to them to think they're right than to know they're right. It's like they have their own. Like I'm guilty of this too, probably. Where
of course, we all
everyone. Where it's like it's hard to change someone's mind, even if you. In fact, there's like been some study where even if you present them with a fact that counters their logic, they're actually more likely to believe what they originally believed. So it's just human beings are weird in some ways.
We're very weird.
We're set up to undermine our own freedom.
We're very much that
our own worst enemies.
We're the ants, and they're
Earlier you said like he's more likely to say things because of his agenda rather than checking facts. What would his agenda be in calling out fake news? Because he's a billionaire, he's the president. Like
but now they're digging into his life.
He's a very emotional person. When he feels emotionally slighted, he tends to react. He's a very reactionary person.
So he's human.
That just answers your question, though.
I mean,
yeah.
Well, nah. All right. So, producer says the www.mediabiasfactcheck.com rates CNN, CSB, NBC, and Fox as all equally bad with mixed accuracy. It isn't a new problem. So yes, Trump is calling them out, and he has been calling them out forever. But so have other presidents.
But I think that comes back to still.
I want to bring this into frame. No other president that I've been alive for has been so. Well, just the news has been so adamant against him. I mean, and there's most of the presidents. As soon as they're elected, everyone jumps on board. This one for some reason they're pulling. I mean, they're pulling back. Now the reason may be because they don't agree with his agenda.
Or his personality.
Or it might be because they've been fake forever and now he's calling them all out.
I think that other presidents in the past have had something to lose. So they're more careful.
They weren't billionaires.
They weren't billionaires. They weren't. I mean,
Well, I mean, if he wanted to, he'd go an island anytime, right?
he took on
I mean,
running for president.
not anymore.
Not begrudgingly. He did it. He wanted to do it, but it's not like he needed another notch.
You know what I
in
think?
his
You know
belt.
what I think he really wanted. He wanted to do this and lose so that he could say Hillary's bad for the rest of his life. Or you see, if I was president, I would have done this. If I was president, this wouldn't be a problem, and he would have gained more power and more following, even more so than he has now.
Than even being president?
Why?
Why? Because he likes the attention. Look
It's
at
a
him.
power
He's liked
game,
the attention
too.
forever.
I mean, people who are power hungry are going to see power, power, and power, and power, and power. You had some.
Yeah, it's weird. We're trying to like ascribe some
ahead.
sort of reason to Trump's motives when I don't think he's really shown that he's a rational person at all. Yeah, he's just a narcissist, and that's why.
But
does he
you
want
don't encapsulate him though either. I don't like just
All right.
just calling him just one thing. You know, that's,
He's a lot of things, and most of them are horrible. But yeah,
Yeah,
We're all complicated.
If we're gonna go start
We're all
reading his
complicated
tweets
humans, you know?
and then read
We're just
the
not in
fake
the
news
news
call
every
out,
day.
I think that we're on the lighter side of the tweets. But I'm gonna quote the Obama press secretary regarding Fox News. They said, "We're going to treat them the same way we would treat an opponent." She says, "We don't need to pretend that this is the way that legitimate news organizations behave." So instead of saying fake news, this is the
This is
politically
the
correct way.
politically
It's the
correct.
fancier way to say
Yeah,
it.
the
But I
politically
think
correct
if
way
we
to
were
say it.
having a
More
politically
eloquent.
correct show, every single one of you would say that we have gone too far.
Yeah,
So
I
now
would
you're
agree with
saying
that.
he's gone too far the other direction.
but you know, it's about showmanship in a way. You know, you're not.
I think
because
he's
it
got
comes
the
back to
best
his-
in show right now.
Right.
He's got
It comes back to what he said,
17
though,
million
and that his
followers on
word-
everything.
His word is so heavy.
I think this is a false equivalency because that's one quote by not even Obama himself. That's his secretary or press
Well,
secretary.
it was more of a. It wasn't really an equivalency as much as it was just to put something in a frame of reference.
Yeah,
Devil's
I'm
advocate.
not
A
saying-
lot
Yeah.
of presidents stand behind them, and so they don't have
Yeah.
to
Well,
look.
why isn't the president's media team the one on Twitter?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it probably should be.
In
think
in
you only get, like,
opinion,
75
that probably
word letters or-
would
I don't know.
be better. But like you said, like creating laws that would say that you have to do that, that would be infringing upon the president's First Amendment rights. So it can be like
I
frowned
don't think he
upon.
has rights as a president. Honestly.
Whoa, you're gonna go there?
Well, I mean, just to say it in this context, when you join the military and become a military branch, you are therefore expected to follow a completely different set of rules. Now, I
agree
believe
with
he is
that,
part of
but
that,
I agree,
right? I
yeah,
mean,
definitely.
like he does. Like they don't have
That
First
comes back
Amendment
to
in
what
the
he
military.
said about his weight, the weight of his words. Still,
I
Yeah.
think a lot of presidents hide behind their press secretaries, and they have people that do their dirty work for them. And Trump is just not. He's okay with putting himself out there and letting himself take the heat. Just okay. In my business, there were 3 of us at one time that owned Matt Allen. Now there are 2. If one of us made a decision and it wasn't popular with someone, then whoever made that decision said, you know what, I will tell them, because it's not right for you to let others take the heat for your opinions and your decisions.
So you feel like him taking to Twitter directly or him addressing the people is noble?
He's taking all the heat. He's not asking his press secretary to issue a statement like this. He could do it just like Obama's press secretary.
what?
I think he throws like Sean Spicer. There's been quite
Sarah
a few
Huckabee
fired.
Sanders is his press secretary. and
secretary
she takes
so
a lot
far.
of crap. Like,
He's already thrown
That's
quite a few of them
probably
under the
true.
bus.
We're
Yeah,
40
he's
minutes
not-
in. I want to get
But
some of these
Is
comments
he
real
not
quick.
taking a lot of heat for his tweets?
he,
Oh, take a lot of heat for all
he's
things.
taking
Right.
a lot of
Right.
things. Absolutely.
I think he's gotten as much heat as he's dished out.
I mean, I feel
honestly.
sorry for her. Honestly,
Maybe more.
She has a
Yeah.
tough job trying to decipher what he says and then
Explain it
ask
to the
reporter,
people.
answer reporters'
Like,
questions.
authoritatively,
as-
like
she has to
sort of-
get herself in his mind and then be like, well, when he said this and
He really
it was
meant
wrong,
this.
he
Made
really
it look
meant
like
this.
sticker poo, for lack of a more eloquent
alternative
term.
facts.
I mean, a lot of times truth is not savory, and so when you're trying to communicate it, there are people who try to put stickers all over it and make it prettier and make it more nice to swallow. A spoonful of sugar.
I really hate you, but
I
you're
think
pretty.
Trump is just like, I think Trump is like, I don't have time for this. I need to run a country. This is fake. Moving on.
But then that kind of puts, rather than protecting his press secretaries, that puts them in the position where they have to actually defend this stuff, and they're the ones who actually face the media after
I don't
the
know if
fact.
that would be considered doing their job or not.
And then, that's why so many of them have been fired, and that's why Sean Spicer is hiding in the bushes at the White House, because he's like, oh God, what did Trump say now? I can't defend this.
I was not pointed to the right
Poor guy. Him too.
Trump doesn't face the media. He might get the scrutiny, but he doesn't face the media. It's poor Sean Spicer in the bushes.
He faces the media.
He's
definitely
facing the
faces
media
the
right
media.
now.
One at a time, guys. Actually, real quick, we're 20 minutes from the end of the show.
Okay.
I actually want to get into some comments. If somebody will put them on the screen for me. We're going to go to commercial real quick from the Phil and Derek's, I believe. Is that who's? Yeah, Phil and Derek's Wine Bar in Midtown. I was just over there the other day. Great jazzy little spot. Make sure you guys check it out. Here they are.
Phil and Derek's Restaurant and Jazz Bar, located in the midst of bustling Midtown in Houston. You'll find a laid-back atmosphere and ambiance reminiscent of the comfort of your own living room, coupled with the flair of pizzazz and glitz from live New York-style cabaret entertainment 7 nights a week. Phil and Derek's is not only the ideal restaurant with a great, long-standing wine selection, but also with a full bar as well. Phil and Derek's stock and knowledge of wines, from Napa Valley wines, French Bordeaux, Spanish and Argentinian wines, just to name a few, are the envy of wine connoisseurs far and wide. Phil and Derek's Sunday Brunch was voted Best Morning After Brunch for 3 consecutive years. Come indulge in the ample buffet of crepes, omelets, various salads, meats, complimentary mimosas, and much, much more. Enjoy delicious foods from the kitchen until midnight. We're equipped with large dining areas, ideal for every party need, whether business or pleasure. Come see and enjoy all that Phil and Derek's has to offer.
Oh, now we're back. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Artist Edition of the Whine No Wine Show, where we are talking about if the president is undermining the First Amendment by calling some news sources fake news and enemies of the state. Before we get back into our subject and read some comments, I want to let Edward play some music. I mean, that's kind of half the reason we're here, right? Is to do some music and some art, right? So we're a little late, but thanks for staying tuned. Go ahead, man. Tell us about it. Tell us where to find you, and
Yeah, sure.
Get the jamming, right?
Right on, yeah. Yeah, once again, it's facebook.com/itsybitsyofficial. This song I'm about to play is an original I wrote about a month ago called Can't Stop the Radio. I'll be honest, doesn't really mean a ton. I tend to write the music first and then try to find lyrics that I find fit the aesthetics of the music. So I just thought of this song musically, and then I thought of this line in my head, "Can't Stop the Radio." Love songs written long ago, and then I stretched that out to 3 minutes basically. And,
if any artist tells you anything different, they're lying.
It could be something. It's a stream of consciousness thing.
For sure, it always is.
Yeah, and I don't want to get too deep into it because it would be a non sequitur from all this fake news. Yeah, it's not anything. Yeah, I don't write political music for sure. So, can I go ahead and get started?
Whenever you're ready, my man.
All right. Sorry. Get scooch and get comfortable here. Can't stop the radio. Love songs written long ago. They don't mean anything. Just lies mixed with vivid fantasy. There's a voice that's calling me to your frequency, coming from a distant satellite, trying not to lose myself, but it's just as well. Are we really ever satisfied? Can't stop the radio. Are you really in control? I don't feel anything. Must be something wrong with me. There's a voice that's calling me to your frequency, coming from a distant satellite, trying not to lose myself, but it's just as well. Are we really ever satisfied? Oh, 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 I heard it on the radio. 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 There's a voice that's calling me to your frequency, coming from a distant satellite, trying not to lose myself, but it's just as well. Are we really ever satisfied? Can't stop the radio. Love songs written long ago. Thank you. I said it.
Wonderful tune, man.
I
Wonderful
said it has
tune.
nothing to do with what we discussed today, but then there was that line, "Just Lies mixed with fantasy," and I was like, well, taken out of context.
You got a great voice, man.
Yeah,
dude,
dude,
very.
right on. That was
And you know, come to Avant Garden on Tuesday night, open mic, and hear him play live. But while you set that back in the guitar case, just real quick, we find you at Itsy Bitsy at Facebook.
Facebook.com/ItsyBitsyOfficial. I don't know if we're the official Itsy Bitsy, but
You
we
are
took
now.
that name.
I love it.
That's not fake news.
Charlotte's Web.
Yeah. It is, yeah, part of the problem. Anyone can be the official
Paul.
Itsy Bitsy. You just say they are, I guess.
Awesome. All right, Alicia, let's talk about some of your art, how to find you, what you do, how you do it.
You can find me on Alicia Jean Art on Instagram. I just made that today because otherwise my stuff was stuck in with my selfies and tomfoolery on my own private Instagram. I for a long time didn't make my own art Instagram because I don't feel confident yet. I was married
think I
as a
struggle with
teenager.
that sometimes, too,
Married
yeah.
as a teenager, was a teacher for a long time. I spent the whole time married, like teaching and being a mom and a wife and all these things. And now that my kids are mostly all grown, I started picking up art again, and I just love it. And so I've had a real long block for a while now, and so I haven't even actually finished anything in months. So I feel so like
I think
hypocritical sitting here.
we
and,
can
like,
see your pieces right now scrolling across the feed.
Oh,
Everybody
okay.
can, not
So
us.
I
but-
have not, found my style yet. I'm still experimenting.
Searching
I'm
for that
still,
voice, huh?
yeah,
I kind of have the same
expressing.
thing going on for sure.
Yeah,
Don't we all?
yeah.
It's that
so
changing voice.
You can find it, and this will actually probably spur me on to create some more stuff because, hopefully always getting better. But
Yes, that's the goal there. Always
You
getting
are.
better,
My
yes.
fear is I've labeled myself a conservative.
Oh, there we are.
Now, I'm what is called a conservative liberal, and so
You're getting some
you
love
don't
over
really
here. I love it.
you don't really find
Yeah.
very many conservative artists. It's like an oxymoron almost. Like when I hang out with other artists,
don't-
I'm always quiet, listening to everything, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, me too.
interesting. But I love what I do love is I love our government and our and I love the people in it too. So it's hard to be a liberal because it seems like they are people lovers, and a conservative it seems like they're government lovers. And I'm in the middle, like, can't we all just
You
get
are
along?
allowed to
Yeah,
be both.
absolutely.
You're allowed to like
You're
take things from
absolutely.
both sides that you like.
It doesn't matter. You're a person, and you express yourself, and that's really the important thing. Where we disagree on politics per se is besides the point. Where we agree and it's a human expression.
That's why we have the show where everybody comes
Absolutely.
together over art.
Like this piece.
And then there you go.
It's called
So,
Keep Talking, which the guy is a snake and he's digging a tongue with his grave, and it's not political at all.
I mean, a grave with his
But,
tongue. No,
yeah,
I got you.
digging a grave with his tongue. It was actually made regarding someone else in my life at a certain time, but now it seems like maybe it could be political.
It's an early Trump.
I didn't want to say it.
I said it.
I didn't want to
So again, can you spell out your Instagram for us so we know where to go to get
it's
you?
ALY, C as in cat, E as in Edward, A, and then JEAN like Jean. And then art, Alicia Jean Art. And
All one
but
word.
I say Jean because
Bam.
people don't really know. Like, it's France, okay?
We've already started on the wine. So
40 minutes into the one.
right.
Why is
Right.
my glass bigger than yours?
I thought these were both mine.
They are.
We're gonna go over to Alex here. If they're ready to play a YouTube video, we're gonna let you kind of describe what it is first,
Okay.
and then we're gonna get
Right
to
on.
that, get to playing that.
So I guess I've been playing for like a year and a half now, and it's just a matter of
What kind of we lost the video.
Oh,
Producers
okay.
weren't ready. We weren't ready.
That's okay.
Which is okay because you can find it under the link
for
that's
sure.
posted.
The link
to,
will be
to
posted.
YouTube.
And basically, I make electronic music. I use old vinyl records that I buy from Goodwill. Typically, I like to just choose the best, fanciest cover that usually
Might not even be in our language.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, as a matter of fact, I
That's how I pick video games.
dude, that's the best way to do it. Some Indian flair or some guys where they're all wearing purple suits on the cover and all of them are matching, in purple suits.
Who knows what that's in there? Like,
Dude,
you don't
yeah,
know.
exactly. And it's only $1. It's only $1. So I go ahead and get it and see what I can find on there and kind of mix it into some music. To me, it's fun to play. It's just it's a lot of fun. I got a visual mix actually that Cinematics made. I don't know if
Cinna's been on the show before. If you're an avid watcher, you'd know of him.
Yeah, absolutely. He makes badass visual mixes, and he helped me out, and it really tied it all together and brought the vision together that I kind of had in my mind, and it's a lot of fun. I'm playing my first show on August 30th. Going to be playing at Natsuo, and
Coming up quick.
it is coming up quick. And
Everybody in Houston knows Natsuo, so
Yeah.
there's no excuse not to be there.
Right.
it's
Houston backwards.
Houston backwards.
It is.
And yeah, it's I have a lot of fun, and I hope that people come check it out. I appreciate the support. It's a free show, so all the more reason it's a Thursday night, and no excuses.
Right after you finish watching our episode.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Perfect timing. Doors open at 8, so perfect timing.
Exactly right. Pre-game for the watch party. Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll post the video, and
Just to kind of reiterate, I heard his music and I thought to myself, "Oh wow, okay, this is different." And I love all types of music, and it wasn't bad by all means, but I didn't understand the context. But when you put it to a video, and then you put it on screen, I'm pretty sure the entire EDM world is gonna love the stuff. So be sure you go check out that link. And
it's trippy.
Yeah, it is.
It's trippy.
Very much so.
You know,
it's very fun and trippy. That's a great word for it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And your YouTube?
Yeah, I have my YouTube.
Is called?
Well, it's under Billion City. So if you look up Billion City and you look up Idols of March, IDOLS of March, play on the Idols of Ides of March.
Ides of Mars. There's a lot of people.
You can find it. That's probably the easiest way to find it. Look up Billion City, BILLION City.
I subscribe.
Idols of March. You can find that music video. It's a trippy music video, and you can also look up me on Instagram, Billion BILLION_city_project. Find me there. I post videos on there, and I also include the full YouTube video for pretty much everything that I post on Instagram. You can find the full YouTube video as well.
Heck yeah, man! I appreciate you coming out. Let's do it, man. Tell me about yourself. Tell me.
Cool. My name is Andres Del Rio. I'm a photographer based out of the Woodlands area, but I travel all over Houston. Mainly, I focus on portraiture, a little bit of fine art, kind of getting into the finer art area, weddings, headshots, blah blah blah. I also do. I'm shooting an event coming up here on September 22nd.
Over there.
Yeah. What's it? The Enter the Night.
Yes, Summer's End. Enter the night. Yes.
You can check that out on Facebook.
Yeah.
At Avant Garden on September 22nd. It's going to be really awesome. You can find my work on my website, which is Andres Del Rio DELRIO.com. There's a second link. I know that it doesn't match the thing up there. I make that easier to put on my card because people will always try to put the thing that I put .com and get it wrong.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing, but yeah, you can use the Andres-delrio.com. You can also use my Instagram at Andres Del Rio with a dot in between the R and the I.
If you follow me, I tagged him in today's post for sure. And you guys know me. I am Chris Minnemeyer, the founder of Text Music and Art, one of them, and Art. And I'm going to shout out the anime show Saturday, free to enter. I have created some fun interactive art, and if you check the event that this live feed is in, you'll see me going all Goku style, having some fun with some abstract art there. So be sure you check out that show at Drink of Ages in Montrose Midtown area Saturday. I'm gonna get into some comments real quick here, and I want to thank Dee Franklin for tuning in and commenting. She said, "Joe just put up our fact check site for the source. This is what we use: www.mediabiasfactcheck.com. If you are using another site that you feel is better, post it to the comments.
Snopes.
And, Media Bias Fact Check might not be fact checked itself.
And may not even be media bias.
We don't know.
There was some fake news out
Fact
there.
Check only rates the accuracy of the sources and tells you what their political agenda
they're lean to
event is.
Yeah, okay. So they don't actually report things. Right, they report on the report.
They're extremely well sourced. They have multiple full-time staff that just investigate backgrounds.
So you can go there and just waste your whole day. I don't know if you call it a waste. I mean, you're learning.
If somebody posts an article that looks like, poo. It's worthwhile to take the news source and go to Media Bias Fact Check and check their accuracy and that sort of thing.
Cool.
You know what you're getting.
Cool. So first thing, type Donald Trump. Just having fun. Okay, guys. Billy Mahoney, thank you for tuning in. Mahaifi, sorry, I did that wrong for the third time.
Hey, Billy.
Hey, Billy, what's up, dude? I even know you personally. I love your work, Alicia. There you go. Some love for Alicia. But I also love it for sure. Man, I'm just going to mess these
And I
last
love
names up.
his-
Joden.
I love his
Joden
work.
Malik.
Like the
Thank
director.
you. Sings along. Can't stand the radio. It's a 45. Great song, Edward. Yeah,
Thank
really.
you very much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
great.
Come out to and Joden, I see you all over our group, so please come out and meet me at Avant Garden one Tuesday. I'd love to buy you a beer. Melissa.
Maryland or something.
Oh, well, that's a long plane ride from Maryland. But maybe we'll have to rain check. Melissa Contrell, thank you for tuning in. She says, who needs to hire someone to do his tweeting for him? He needs to hire someone to do it because he really screws it up.
I'll do it.
Yeah, I think she'd do better.
Can't really do worse. So.
Shots fired.
Well, there's a lot of hate towards the president in this room.
I feel like I'm
I
pretty
feel like we're on a
open.
satellite right now. I'm sorry,
As soon as we said the word Trump, we were on the radar.
We're live
That's
and
fake
saying
news.
Trump. All right.
He's gonna call
That's
us
fake news.
Tuned in.
Virgil C. Robinson, thank you for tuning in. Says, I've always wondered about folks who mindlessly click on those ridiculous so-called news articles along the margins of web pages. And he said, got a crying, laughing face. I completely agree with
The
that.
dark truth about
Yeah.
whatever.
It's, local singles in
Clickbait.
your area. It's about the
That's what I
same
usually
thing, right?
get. That's what I usually get. I don't
Based
even
on
know what
search
he's talking
history.
Yeah, it's based on search history.
Well,
so, you know, the nude celebs that
Chris.
right now has.
I don't search.
But it knows what you
I
want.
was just
it knows
saying
what you
in
want.
reference, not that
Facebook
mine
does know what he wants.
definitely Alexa chick. She knows exactly what you want.
That is what actually. That is what actually scares me more than Trump, because Trump is temporary.
Yeah.
How
Whereas
Facebook
social media,
listens.
well,
Yeah.
Facebook has just consumed so much of our
Raw
media.
data.
So,
man. Raw data.
Either we just
Power.
let them
Real
put up
power.
all the fake news they want, because they do, or do we trust Facebook to curate the news that we see and fact check?
And then
something
Facebook
like
runs
that.
the risk of becoming like,
Facebook's more powerful.
yeah,
than
more
anything.
poureful than the U.S. government
which
in
is really
disseminating
funny.
Well, that's
and
what it
it's a
wants.
topic. It's a subject kind of for another time. But
I don't even. I until like 2 weeks ago, and I've been divorced 4 years. I never even looked at dating sites. I was like, I'm so broken. I do not.
I just don't know
I do not want to try. And all of a sudden, it has all these things on.
You
there
must
are-
have changed your relationship
Look at this
status.
guy in your
It wants
area.
to change your
But I
relationship status.
didn't. So I wonder if it looks at my Facebook and goes,
I'm
you
sure.
know, single? Why?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
It-
that's totally a thing.
It
like,
noticed
yeah.
the pictures that you were taking, probably, and it
Maybe.
did a
Singles.
calculation, it did an
I'm like,
algorithm, and
Dude,
it
no
decided
one
that you
knows.
needed
No
that.
If so,
knows
thank
these
you,
things.
Facebook.
Oh, man. All right. I had something to say, but I lost it on that one. All right. So Joden comes back and says, when we have a member of Congress quoting from the
Oh God, that was
Onion.
true.
that is truth,
We have a problem.
we have a problem.
Yeah, that happened.
I completely agree with that. I did not know
that happened,
but
and it was hilarious.
he quoted the Onion.
See, but that's
Yes.
the problem.
Which
is
is
that
like-
we think it's hilarious.
a fake
And
news
what- and
site.
then what?
That's-
And then what?
Okay,
there's
but
no
we
other
say it's
word for it.
hilarious,
Also,
and we're
and
like,
then we
oh,
let it
that's
go.
funny, and
Okay,
then,
and then
okay.
move on with our lives.
Yeah.
But like that's literally the state of things, where like the presidential cabinet is quoting a worldwide known satire website as news, and then the honcho of said cabinet is going fake news.
But that's
Dang
the
it.
American
LOL.
problem. That's the American problem. The American problem.
I don't even have anything. I've been all by myself on this panel,
Right.
basically. I don't even.
Yeah,
have
you've had an uphill battle. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I've been
Right.
trying to help you out. I have been.
Yes, you have. Look, President Trump, if you watch this, I don't have anything for this, and I can help you. I'm very good at putting stickers
He
on.
might hire you because everyone else
stickers
is
on
leaving.
Poop
Everyone
stickers.
else is running away. Sarah Huckabee, she's resigning at the end of the year, and you are the woman's touch that he needs.
Yeah.
I think the show would have been a lot less interesting if you weren't here. It's just
Yeah, it definitely.
Yeah,
is.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think your perspective brought a lot to the table, and I think all of ours did,
If it
and
doesn't
including our
burn
commenters
my
here. And I
heart.
appreciate you guys tuning in. I think we're getting towards the end of everything, and so what I want to do is give you guys an option or a chance to kind of give your closing thoughts and see if it had changed at all from the start of the show, an hour before we went live, to now? I mean, have you changed? And I'll start with
Andres.
Look, my girlfriend's name is Andrea, and it's spelled different, and so I keep
Definitely
relating
don't call
it.
me Andrea.
No, see, but I keep relating the difference in the spelling, and then
like you, but-
it's messing me up.
But go ahead. So I do, a couple of points that were brought up did actually make me think. One of them was if is it wrong for Trump to point his finger at tabloids and say like that's fake news, without actually doing the there is a degree of subjectivity. There is a degree of the absurdity can vary, and the absurdity of it is subjective. So that's something that I'm probably going to take away from this. And another point is that other administrations have called out fake news, not quite so orange. But it has actually done it, and that's something that I'm probably going to pay a little bit more attention to as well.
Good points, though. Yeah, I think I came in feeling similar to your stance, and I definitely pulled the same things up. What about you?
Well, I don't care what color he is. If he's orange or whatever color he is, it really doesn't matter to me. Hey, all colors matter, and
that.
yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I don't care. I don't care what he's.
Pink's my favorite.
They'll listen.
No.
Go again.
No, I don't care what he looks like because at the bottom line is how he represents us, and how do you want to represent yourself? I think is what it comes back to. And if America or American is how you want to represent yourself,
You're doing a great job. Sorry,
I mean,
throw that in there.
yeah,
if he wants to be portrayed as American, he's doing pretty good.
If he wants to be portrayed as his base of American, he's doing a good job. But if he wants to be portrayed as American, I don't. They're not American, but
educate.
He just
Careful now.
He's watching.
Yeah, no, exactly. No.
Chris is pushing all of the buttons.
I'm
so sorry, bro.
All of the elevator
here. I'm just having fun.
Right?
with you.
No.
Chris wants to visit every floor.
Exactly. No, I just feel. I feel he needs to have a little. He needs that filter. He needs to filter himself, and he could probably do great things. He probably could.
We need a whole second show.
Yeah,
He
we
probably could.
I mean,
Because-
he is doing great.
Because
things.
he got elected. Because
So the next show is what great things
tired
is
of
he
filtering
doing?
filters. Political.
And I was gonna say is he's the product of us. You know?
He's absolutely the product of us, and
And-
that's
and
what I keep coming back
That's
to.
what, and that's what
That's
we,
why I keep
we
saying
brought
the
him in to
complacency.
go in there and mess things up and
Absolutely,
call
because
people out
we're
and-
tired of the shit.
and
We're
dude.
tired of what is there. But the problem is, he is not changing the status quo. He is not draining the swamp. He is filling the swamp. That's the problem.
I feel like for
I like it.
a long time,
Like
Go
your
live on
stance on it.
Instagram.
Yeah. We're gonna go live on Instagram after this.
I got
We'll
things to
continue some
say.
conversation.
Oh, God.
Producer Swanson.
well, I mean, I feel
Go
like
ahead,
for
give
a
me some
long
closing
time,
statements real quick.
America has wanted someone different to stir things up, to call things like they are, and now it's like we wanted that as long as it isn't Trump, because he's a billionaire and because he said
It's not
inappropriate
'cause he's a
comments
billionaire.
and there's
Closing thoughts.
several reasons, but
Just doing the same thing to you.
I feel like, does he need to? One of you, and I'm not going to say who, said he needs to have a filter. We want to put a filter on him, but we don't. But we don't want him to filter the news. We want to filter him, but we don't want him to filter the news.
Ooh. Oh yeah. Hey.
He-
Comments
He's gonna
underneath.
say what
We're
you're
doing.
thinking.
We're doing
He's gonna
another
say what
show.
you're thinking. Don't worry.
Go ahead.
on.
Let me say some closing thoughts from you.
All right.
Edward.
God, we gotta get this in there.
All right, let me say something real quick. So I do agree that there is fake news out there. The major media companies are owned by large corporations and they are profit motivated, so they are not unbiased. And then also, so much of our life is governed by social media, and as it becomes a really big ethical quandary as to what should they be policing their content or not, because maybe that gives them even more power and makes the problem even worse. But to take it back to what we talked about, I don't think Trump is the solution. I think he's just another person in the theater yelling fire, trying to confuse and mislead the American people. And you shouldn't trust Trump. You shouldn't trust anyone.
Were you just giving likes?
No, that was a hard statement, but go ahead.
You should only trust yourself. If the only one who can protect yourself from fake news is yourself.
Damn,
put.
So
I agree.
just do your due diligence if you really care about the issues.
I agree.
And that's the most important point I think to take away from this.
I completely agree with that.
That's awesome.
Clickable
I'll read my empty glass to you.
There you go.
That was a very good closing statement.
Closing thought from Thomas
Do your
Jefferson.
due diligence.
Thomas Jefferson.
Amen.
He's commenting on our feed. He says, "Hey, Tommy." I'm gonna quote him.
Tommy G.
The most effective engines.
Tommy J.
Letters are hard.
The most,
It's way into the alphabet.
it says this is an hour into the show. All right. The most effective engines for pacifying the nation. I'm sorry, that's more like that. The public papers. It's a despotic government always.
Despotic.
Golly, Joe. Keep the hard words out of here.
Tommy's fault.
Despotic. I don't even know what that means. Government always keeps a kind of standing army of news writers who, without any regard to truth or to what should be like truth, invent. I don't know what that's supposed to be.
Invent. Yeah.
Oh, to invent truth. Okay, yeah. And put into the papers whatever might seem
Serve the minister.
serve the ministers. This, you guys help me here.
This suffices with the mass of the people who have no means of distinguishing the false.
This is
from
actually
the true
really
paragraphs
important. Can I
of
try
the newspaper.
rereading it?
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Yeah,
Please.
do it.
The most effectual engines for pacifying a nation are the public papers. A despotic government always keeps a kind of standing army of news writers who, without any regard to truth or to what should be like truth, invent and put into papers whatever might serve the ministers. This suffices with the mass of people who have no means of distinguishing the false from the true paragraphs of the newspaper. Thomas Jefferson.
This comes back to
That's-
saying we're complacent.
Yeah, that's true.
Stuff to think on.
Chew on that thought.
Come to Instagram.
I'm going to.
Come to
That's
Instagram.
great.
We're gonna go live.
Easy.
Have some more wine. Talk a little bit more.
Yeah,
Be
more
sure you
wine.
tune in tomorrow for the original edition of the Whine No Wine Show, where the regular person, not the artist, comes together and talks about the most controversial topics. Being offended and friended all in the same night is what we do.
You get it from normal
All over a little
humans.
bit of wine. Also, next month, the Whine No Wine Show Artist Edition is going to rebrand. It's going to be the Art of Dispute.
That is so awesome.
I
Yeah,
like that.
it's
I'm
good.
pretty
It's a
excited
good
about
point.
that.
Yeah,
words,
we're moving to
yeah.
Saturdays.
And then I can drink beer.
Yeah, we're gonna drink some beer. Gotta have wine every night. It's all right. I was
Shots.
never a
No
wine
hard,
drinker.
no hard alcohol.
No hard booze. Have a hard enough time dealing with the wine. But
Despotic means cruel and oppressive.
thank you for that, because she whispered into my ear earlier. I wasn't even gonna tell y'all.
Despot is a dictator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I think that's it. Make sure you follow all our pages, guys. Tune in next week again and tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in this time.
I'm gonna sport my duck face now.
Oh,
I'll help you out.